Turbo, what are we gonna work on today? Huh? Good morning, guys. We are here at the shop, Rad Industries, and we are gonna do a Radium engineering product review and install video. So, you guys guessed it, we're doing stuff on a Mark IV Supra. So, Radium makes this dual/triple pump, depends what application, but it's a triple pump hanger with all AN fittings for feed and return, and a cool little design for their own filter so they can house the 3 Walbro, well, it depends what you're using, but I'm gonna be using Walbro 450s on this one for E85. And then we even have their fuel rail. We have these guys that are a billet hanger that goes under the chassis. I will show you guys in a minute, that holds fuel and brake lines on the way back from the front of the car to the rear of the car. And continuing on, Radium even makes pre-made lines, PTFE lined AN lines for E85, and they make, that's already cut and built to shape. Then they make billet filter clamp, and we have a Radium filter to go with that, all for a Mark IV Toyota Supra. So we are Supra fans over here. You could say there's a couple of them if you look around. So we're gonna do an install on my practice Supra and then show you guys the step-by-step way. But let's take a look at the Supra real quick. We have kind of in the middle of building it, we have the upper intake manifold removed so we can show you the fuel rail install. Then currently though, we still have all the stock fuel lines in there, and the stock tank is in here. Even though it's mostly a race car, we're using a stock tank on this one, so it's a perfect example of how this is gonna go. This is Vicha here. He's going to remove this for us right now, and all the other hard lines for fuel to get ready to do the Radium install. But so as he's doing that, and he's gonna take the lines out from under the car, I'll be over here setting up this pump hanger with 2 pumps, because I'm not gonna do 3, but 2 pumps, and I'll kind of walk you guys through it. And then when I get stuck, because I have done stuff like this before, I've not done this exact one yet, and there will be some complex things, I'm gonna go use this card that comes with all the Radium products, and I'm gonna go to their website, and we're gonna go to the install instructions. So anytime we get stuck, we'll just jump over there on the computer. It'll tell us what to do so we don't waste our time or do something wrong and maybe have it not work correctly. So there's a lot of little intricate pieces individually bagged, and we would not want to mix any of those up. That is why I'm going to follow the instructions. I know it's hard for some people to follow the instructions. Sometimes you get excited, brand new billet part that's anodized like this, and you just want to put it in your car. But let's do it the right way the first time. Okay. So, since it comes with pump 1 already set up for you with the connector, pump 2 would be over here. So I will be installing this guy with these 2 ring connectors down here. I'm going to leave pump 3 alone. Not going to be running that. This car is set to make about 650 horsepower when we're done. Does not need 3 high flow pumps. It just needs 2, and it almost could work on 1, but it's a drift car and we're going to move around, so sloshing, and rather have it be on the safe side, so overkill. It's kind of my theory with everything. Do a little overkill and then you're on the safe side. So I'm going to need to remove some stuff out of this bag here, and I'm going to set the camera down and kind of get started on this, and you guys just watch, and then I'll give you updates as we're going. So let's do this. Lots of small little pieces. So when you do this, you want to probably have lots of open space that you could lay everything out, get a visual on everything, what you need. And then since there's no like fold out instructions but that's been printed for you, I would recommend having your computer nearby so you can jump on your computer and look at some of the pictures and read descriptions of what they're asking us to do. You will need a little bit of kind of a little variety of tools, because you're going to need to be able to do some, looks like, for sure you're going to need your Allen set, and if you are going to add wires, you're going to need a crimp or wire crimp tool, and then they supplied some heat shrinks, so you might need a heat gun or a lighter, but for the most part it's Allen keys that we're going to be needing here. Okay, so first up, grab the pumps. Okay, so Walbro high output pumps, 2 of them. The part number is F9000274. So that's E85 rated, high pressure. Radium has some amazing little engineered pieces. So cool. So I'm gonna try and give you guys a closer look at all this stuff. This is this one in a way stands out from any other pump hanger for a Supra that I've ever seen. It's probably the most intricate design, but they've thought of everything, and then they even have the little siphoning guy that'll help recirc the fluid or the fuel that's not being used and feed it back into itself. And in the bottom of a tank in a Supra, there's a little pickup. It's not, I wouldn't call it like, it's like a Toyota's, you know, quick little like solution to like sloshing fuel, so your pump always has like a little bit of fuel to grab from, even on a couple G-force corner or whatever, like a longer corner that's pulling fuel to one side. Obviously a Supra can't pull multiple G-forces, but you guys get what I'm saying. So in a minute here we will be able to look down in there and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And then once the car goes up in the air, I'll explain these once again. And I will give you the part number for this guy. These little brackets. We will put that part number right below here so you can read it. In case you do need these in case you want these. Everyone needs these. You should get them. These are really cool. And you need this too. It's kind of a must-have for high horsepower stuff on a Supra, bolt-in solution. These are really cool that it's just like it all happens for you. You don't have to sit there and measure it out and or pay a shop to cut, measure, and build the lines for you, because then it gets more expensive. They've already done that part for you. Sell it as a kit. Alright guys, so before I get started, here we are on Radium's website, radiumauto.com. So that's what the inside of a Supra gas tank looks like. It's got this little mini, it's kind of like the anti-surge thing for basic stuff, not for perfect race car solution, but it's gonna work fine for what I'm doing with this. I would not use this on my Formula Drift car. That's why I would use the Radium FCST in a fuel safe cell on my Formula Drift car, but it's gonna work fine on this guy over here, just for practice, fun days, and I can almost guarantee it's not gonna surge. So here's what it would look like as we installed it into the top of the tank. Moving down, this is kind of your description of how it looks, and the jet pump, which is like gonna re-siphon back into itself, is kind of described here in this picture, and then at a different angle a little bit in this picture. Then here's what we got on their custom little filter design they have, so you can fit all three without having the pre-filter socks fighting each other down there. So that's a picture with all three pumps. We're gonna only do 2 on my car, but it's good to do 3 if you guys don't want to open and close everything a lot and you just have one kind of waiting there on hold, and then you'd swap over the wiring. And like, let's say you had 3 pumps and pump 2 failed after 2 years of like use, you could just unclip the connector and move over and go to pump 3 and then utilize that. And that's one way of doing it without having to spend time pulling and switching. Okay, moving down, here's everything laid out, kind of like what I have going on over here on the table. They did it a little bit differently. You guys get the idea. These are all the parts. And then going down, this is what it'll look like in the car. Looks like they just wired up for one pump on this setup, and then the fuel level sending unit. I am not running a fuel level sending unit whatsoever on this one. Maybe we'll just do it. We'll just wire it up, but most likely I'm not gonna run it up to the race pack or whatever gauge I use, but just for the purpose of maybe having it, we'll run it because we have the level sending unit there. Okay, here's the really cool billet holders that I was telling you about. These run underneath the chassis along the driver's side frame rail, 4 of them, and it utilizes stock hardware or stock studs and hardware from Toyota that are just built into the chassis. That is such a cool little part. I think any guy with a street car is gonna want that. And then also any guy with a street car basically needs this whole kit on his car. It's just like a plug and play, if you will, kit. And then here, moving further forward towards the engine, we have the billet bracket with the Radium filter, the high flow inline filter. This guy right here, this guy right here. Keep going here. Down to, this is the kit we have here. So we got feed line, -8, and then the -6 return line. Much less confusing than trying to build it yourself. It's just drop-in kit. And then if you guys want like more and more details, I would recommend jumping on their website and reading about this. And then it kind of just sells itself, because first off, Radium is really good at engineering parts, and then they're really good at making them look amazing. And as a car part person myself, when I see something that looks really good, you're like, whoa, and then if it works good too, it's like a win-win, and kind of need it. So let's go see what Vicha accomplished over there before he raises the car. He pulled out the stock Toyota pump hanger. It's got a pump on there, and then it's got our fuel sending unit. We might as well try and set up the sending unit over there on that guy, just so we have it, because it's here, even though probably won't use it because it's a race car. And then you see there's a little plastic guy down inside there. So we're gonna have to remove all of this stuff still, but so we got everything has to land inside that little box in there. But as we saw over there, everything's just kind of pre-designed to work. So this part's complete for there. I got some work to do over there. He's gonna raise the car right now, and then we'll look underneath, and after we look underneath, we'll explain what we're removing, and then he'll get to that, and then I'll do some work over here finally. So let's go. All right, so we're under here. Toyota has a stock plastic cover, same location as Radium. His chose to put the fuel filter, was stock area. We're gonna get all this stock one out of the way, and we'll be back in a little bit to do the Radium install. Hard part is getting this thicker fuel line without bending it too hard out from under the subframe area right here, but we'll make it happen. And then we can kind of fish the AN line in through there. It won't be too bad because it has some flexibility to it. Okay, so I clicked on the downloadable link for instructions, and I'm gonna do some reading. And then we'll not skip any steps and do this just right. Okay, all right guys. Cool little thing they designed here. Starts with like a C-clip, then an O-ring, and then these 2 billet pieces. So first you gotta slip over the black side of the billet piece, I'm gonna set this down and you guys just gotta watch closely. I need both hands. Okay, let's do it like this. So, open this bag up. We're going to drop this guy down like that. You can see that slides over. We got 2 barbs on this guy, and the one little metal C needs to go in between the 2 barbs. So first slip this guy on, then this little C guy goes here, then the O-ring, then you get the green male A inside. Kinda need 3 hands right now. Maybe I'll brace it. Okay. Should have opened up all the bags first, but. So then you got that, and there you go. Just a quick little install like that, but you're gonna do this on each pump. And then you thread these Allens in. And this will allow you to connect it to the pump hanger, because it is threaded with a -6 ORB, it looks like on there. So the O-ring here, ORB stands for O-ring boss. So it's same thread pitch as an AN, but it has an O-ring to help it seal. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going on these and do multiples of this, and then I will show you when we're complete. Alright guys, let me do this one more time for you. In person. Whole thing. These little guys are so cool. Love the way Radium builds stuff. Maybe I just get a little more excited than the average person because I'm a builder also, but this stuff works good. It's like their way of engineering stuff is always just exciting for me to check out how they did it. And it works good. Makes sense, that's probably why I like it. Okay. So let me get both of these snugged up. So I have a completed one here, another completed one almost here. And then we'll install it into here. We'll move our fuel sending unit over from this guy over to here. And after we do that, then I should be able to do the wiring and kind of be done on that side. Then we go over to the car. So just keep making progress. So now that we have both of the high flow E85 pumps ready to go, let's turn back to the instructions and see what our next step is going to be. So gonna scroll down here. Looks like we just install it in the bottom. The thing I'm worried about, not worried, but thinking about here on what to do next is how to install. No, going through different pump choices, no. Okay, that guy, that bolt down there, that's what we need to do with this guy. Looks like it goes in here. And then this is what's gonna hold this in place to be sandwiching these guys. They'll hold themselves in place after you thread it, but then you want to keep it put and not wiggling around. Then this holds the bottom down. I think I need to utilize this guy, and these all go on the bottom of this screen. All these baby Allens with 2mm go on the bottom to hold this guy on, so that'll be last step. And then think after that, oh, starting to rain over there, some fuel. Okay, so one step at a time, but I'm gonna do a little bit more reading and I'll just start adding stuff on. Yeah, there we go. There's a picture with this guy installed. So it does go on the side where I was thinking. I just need to do it correctly. Okay, so it does go on this little, looks like it goes here and here. And see how that's a little offset on those two Allens? Looks very similar to these Phillips head screws that are offset there. So, okay, we got our plan. I'm gonna get to it. I'm trying to think which would interfere least amount when I'm installing the pumps in the range of where this guy goes. So it'll step out that way. Okay, so I'm gonna use this hole here and this hole, leaving this one open because I'm not doing 3 pumps. It might give me a tiny bit more room over there for what's gonna happen with the pump hanger for the fuel sending. This is gonna get, the clearances are tight. Okay. So what we're gonna have to do is let it can rotate on here because it's just kind of press fit with O-ring. So I'm gonna have to line it up and then just spin this with the appropriate size wrench, or maybe a crescent. All these are very close to. Alright guys, so we got the wiring for pump 2 in, we got both pumps in, fuel sending unit bracket in place, this will sit there. We got a plug in where pump 3 would have been. Now it's time to install this long M6 bolt. Make sure to use a little bit of medium thread locker, blue, a little bit of that guy on the tip here. Then you gotta line this guy up just right, install this, and then run the M6 with a little bit of thread lock through there, tighten it down with a 10 mil. And then you can put your screen on. Then we can move over to the car and start doing that. So I'm gonna do those last little bits right now. And then we'll go over to the car, see what we can do there. Kind of learning as we go and following the directions. See how the wiring kind of points out at the same angle on both of them. It's easier to grab the pump wiring then. Then I got the thread lock on here and slide it in through here and tighten it down. So it's a pretty intricate kit, but it all makes sense when you're putting it together. Hasn't been hard yet. I just have been kind of cautious. I don't want to do anything wrong. And then it was also telling us to install this guy. This will help prevent it from, when you only have 2 pumps, not 3. This will help with preventing from binding over. It's not going with that guy, but then, okay, we're just gonna put it on the side, not where the fuel sending unit is. Here's the triple pump hanger with the stock Toyota fuel sending and 2 fuel pumps. Everything installed. Follow the directions. Should be good to go. Now we're gonna put it in the car. We're gonna be using Deechworks 1500cc injectors. We will need to take off this spacer and reduce the spacer to work with the Radium brackets, and also to clear the upper intake manifold after you have the rail installed. But we've done it before a couple of times, it works out nice. So We're gonna swap around some O-rings and spacing on these injectors, get them to the right height for us. They're 14 mil injectors. If you guys are interested, oh, part number RADGEN. Okay, these ones, they are not the part number RADGEN. And just so you guys know, everything we are doing here is available on radpartstore.com, and or you could go to Deechworks website for injectors, and you can go to Radium for everything you see here. Radium, go to Radium Auto, one or the other, but support Rad Industries and buy it from us. Okay, so we're gonna first route some fuel lines real quick, then we will lower the car down to try and do the rest of the stuff. So let's go over to the car for a second. Alright guys, here we got the right spacers in the injectors, and then the injectors in the Radium fuel rail. So that is it right there. Deechworks 1500s Radium fuel rail. We're gonna go install that in the Supra. I do not have the ORB plug for the bottom yet. I didn't get those. I'm gonna have to call Radium or order that online. And then I'm also gonna get, they have like a tight 90 with, it's a ORB 8 plug with 1/8 MPT to like a tight 90, so you can put Radium gauge on there, so then you know where you're at pressure wise when it's idling or running. And then I also didn't get, they have a regulator that goes back here, just like it's kind of like a flush mount FPR fuel pressure regulator that goes here, so that the return line is set up, because they feed the front of the rail on this system with a -10 that comes out of the high flow filter. So we're gonna do everything but that. We won't be able to complete that one last little bit. So I'm gonna end up leaving the upper intake manifold off so I can get to these two areas to install my those remaining pieces I was talking about. But I think we could pretty much be good to go on this stuff. So get a 12mm, lock this guy down. I'm wasting my love on you. So this goes down in there to here. This is pretty large feed line, so has horsepower in mind. If you guys are gonna do like 1,000 horsepower, I'm not, but you might be. You're set with this guy, you're not gonna run out of flow. And then you just have a -6 return, because the motor will use the rest of it, except at idle you'll have a lot of flow going back if you didn't stagger your pump. But I'm assuming you would stagger your pumps if you do it correctly. You have your second pump come on, probably around when boost starts to happen, and or your second and third pump come on when boost starts to happen. On my pro car, I like to do it at, I think it's 2800. I have my second pump come on. I have a lift pump and a normal pump going at all times, lift and feed. But on this, since there's no surge tank, you just got your one pump going, and then second pump comes on when boost starts, and then that gives you the peace of mind to, you know, go above 600 horsepower with the 85. Okay, going back over here, we connected the level sending unit correctly with their wiring. We just used zip ties and did the spacing like that so we won't arc out. There's no way for these to ever physically touch unless you kind of squished it together. We'll double check this before we install it, but I'm just not sure that this heat shrink is gonna last. For my peace of mind, I just don't think it's gonna last in E85, especially if I run Ignite E85. It's a little more potent. So we are going to not leave anything up to chance and do it this way. Okay, so we're gonna head over to the car, put this guy in and do the other ends of the fuel lines going up to the motor, and then we're gonna do our billet brackets and then we're good to go. Then we're gonna have kind of an overview of everything that we did. So let's go do that, guys. Let's do this. Good old broomstick. Looks safe, right? Worst thing that could happen is you hit your head. It'll go. Our heads have done. Okay guys, so instead of bending it, or something that we would regret later, we didn't tighten both of these Allens as tight as they could be, so we're doing that right now. We did it like they're hand tight, threaded, but then it allowed us to like tilt the sending unit over just enough to one side and still had to like apply pressure, and then we did it. I gotta use both hands, so for this next scene here I'm gonna tighten this up without you guys, and then we'll have it screwed down in. But if you follow the directions, everything will work right. It's just it's almost that you have to apply pressure and kind of like tweak on this really old Toyota sending unit, which scared me, so I was trying to do it like without breaking it. So you could probably still make it work how we were doing it, but you're gonna have to almost like bend it and then it'll spring back when you're done. So be careful that you do not break your Toyota sending unit. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Let me tighten this up. So we have to be very cautious of how we angle it, and it has the arrow pointing forward, but in reality I think we need it to be like 3 degrees pointing towards right side of the car, because otherwise it's gonna want to hit the fuel sending unit a little bit. So we're being very cautious as we go. So I'm gonna strap this down and then we'll start routing our fuel hoses. First, we're gonna get some gates, submersible E85 soft line, because if I wasn't to do that and it's venting, it'll eat itself alive, and over time I just probably ruin those pumps. Maybe one little practice season with the car, you'll probably go ahead and ruin it. So we need some of this guy here. This is 5/16, I think. That is the right size. Let's go over there and check, otherwise we gotta do one size smaller. Either way, okay, let's head back over there. Alright guys, so that's our finished product up here. We're pretty into zip ties with holding lines apart from each other, so what I'm gonna do is that little system where you put one zip tie here and then one in between to hold it. I'll show you when we're done if I remember to film that. And then I got some J30R10. That is the part number for the Gates submersible E85 line. You could use this inside, or you can use it here just because it's gonna flow. Some fuel is gonna flow through that at some point, so it needs to be E85 rated. Well, for me, I just have to do it right the first time. So we're doing that. You guys can take your chances if you want. We don't do that here. Okay, so we gotta route this 6 up on this side of the -8 so that it doesn't kink over like it is here. So we're gonna put it on the other side and head down in under the car. Then we'll get to put these really cool little billet, these 4 billet guides. They're like the holders for fuel and brake lines. And then that will conclude this episode of Practice Car and the parts review on it. After the car hits the dyno, and I have more real life kind of news for you guys, of course I will let you know. But I can already tell you that 2, 3, 4 of my friends that are Supra buddies, they've already set up this system in their car and it is working tip top. It's a really, really good system. So I know it's gonna work good, but I'm just glad I can share this install with you guys. So the one thing that we're gonna still need to do is do the little remote or non-remote mount, it's direct mount pressure regulator here for the -6, because the 6 comes up and ends right here and it goes in that way. Here. Comes up along the firewall and then points in towards where my thumb is for a 90 right here. So unless we're gonna make new lines or route a regulator literally dead here on the firewall, that line wouldn't work. So I'm gonna get that from Radium and put it on here, and then I'm also gonna do the little gauge that'll show us, I think it'll go here, and show us our pressure. Just the last finishing touches to the fuel system. Okay, so let's lift the car. Go underneath here. Okay, so here's what these little brackets look like. And we're gonna start routing the fuel lines, then we'll install the brackets at the end. And you see how it even has a little groove on the side for a zip tie to go up and through there to hold it so there's no rattling and chafing. The reason they did that, I believe, is because each and every company, if you weren't gonna use exactly their kit, each company of AN lines has a different OD, so kind of could throw off the system. So they made it large enough to fit a -10 in there, but then if you run -10 from, let's say, Earls or XRP or the ones that Radium sells, each one has a different little OD on it, so then that will help with that. And then also if you just ran a small -6 system and maybe you didn't buy everything, the whole kit at the same time, then that also would allow you to kind of keep it steady there and not move around. Okay, so we're gonna get to this part right now and we'll come back once we have a lot of it installed. All right guys, so we've seen up top. Now comes through right here, nice and flush mounted. And then these brackets, 2 of them utilize the plastic threaded space or plastic threaded hardware, and then 2 use M6 nuts, but Radium built it so that it'll work perfectly. All of them are interchangeable, all 4. We did zip ties just how they had described, holding the -6 return line perfectly in place. And then as you come up here, you see how the billet bracket mounts, and then how we're holding our feed line over to the edge of the motor mount right there, and then up to the rail. So I still need to grab that fuel pressure regulator, and then I'll kind of be complete with the system. All in all, that's pretty easy, just drop-in system. Everything was thought of already, and it turns out like pretty much perfect. So that is the Radium install of that, and then I will put it to the test with this and abuse it as much as possible, but I could guarantee you it's gonna work fine. And it's E85 approved, so this is what you need for your fuel system for your Mark IV Supra. So we're gonna hopefully we're gonna be doing the same install on this car here pretty soon. We're just rebuilding the motor of this car, but that's what's gonna happen. It's just like the way to go, cost effective wise, for bang for your buck. It's like unbeatable pretty much. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment below and I'll answer those questions. And then, like I said before, this whole system is available on our website, Rad Parts Store. And then also you could get the D-Works injectors on our website, and or both of all the products you could get directly from Radium Auto or D-Works. So just go check that out on our website and order it for your Supra ASAP, because you guys need to have perfect system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soon we're gonna do that. Go drifting with it. All right guys, talk to you later.